The New York Giants quarterback room just got put on alert. Let's talk about it. My name is Paul. This is Big Apple Sports. Tune in every day for the latest Giants news, insights, analysis. If you're a fan of the New York Giants, this is the channel for you. So don't miss out. Take just a quick second. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Got a lot more great Giants content coming. So, obviously, I assume if you're watching this channel, you probably watched the game. You probably are sick to your stomach right now about the Giants, wondering what the right move is. When should the Giants move on from Russ? And Brian Daboll did officially finally announce that Russell Wilson is going to start week 2. But a pretty famous NFL analyst and former NFL quarterback had some pretty wild things to say about Russell Wilson's performance. This is Dan Orlovsky, former quarterback and ESPN analyst. He tweeted yesterday, the thing that's most concerning about Giants offense, Russell's first thing to do consistently versus any form of pressure is to drop his eyes and look at the rush. That, to me, screams time to move on. So, a lot of people have different opinions on Dan Orlovsky, but I think one thing we can all agree on is, the dude did play quarterback in the NFL, has spent a lot of years on an NFL sideline. Like him or not, he is good at breaking down quarterback tape. As good as people can be, everybody makes mistakes and all, but I think that's pretty alarming to see that from a veteran like Russell Wilson. If there's one thing we should be able to count on Russell Wilson for, it's to be smart and make the right decisions and not get jittery in the pocket and, keep his eyes downfield. And he didn't do that in week 1. And, I know I'm going to get a lot of comments about, it's the offensive line, it's the offensive line. And I get it. The offensive line is not good. But, the thing, you don't want to put Jaxson Dart out there to get sacked 75 times and get ruined like David Carr did back in the day by the Texans. That's not what I want to see. That's not what you want to see. It's not what the Giants need. But at the same time, I think he's better equipped to handle this offensive line than Russell is. Russell Wilson can do some things better than Jaxson Dart. He's obviously had a long, successful career. But one thing he's never been great at is standing in the pocket and facing a blitz. And some of that is, he's 5'11". He's one of the shortest quarterbacks in NFL history. Most of these linemen are 6'5", 6'6". He struggles to see over them. And when he was younger, the Seahawks were constantly moving him out of the pocket. He was much shiftier. He was able to make people miss, get out of the pocket, get away from his linemen, and then he can make big throws downfield. But when he's just contained in the pocket like that, his field vision is not going to be great. And you really saw that in week 1. Looking at CBS kind of gave him a grade for his performance on the day. They gave him a D. Completed just 46% of his passes and was off target on 11% of them. And then another thing is he held onto the ball for an average of 2.76 seconds. So it's not like he was getting the ball out quickly, and sometimes your offensive line looks worse than it really is because you're hanging onto the ball too long. I'm not saying the offensive line was great and it's all Wilson's fault. It was not good. I watched the game, you watched the game. The offensive line remains a big time problem. But Wilson did not help things, and he's not going to help things as long as he's back there. He averaged 6.1 yards for his average depth of throw, kept throwing short of the sticks on, key third downs, was awful in the red zone. That one sequence where they got 8 plays inside the 5 in a row, he just looked lost. And that's the kind of thing, Like when you get into those kinds of situations, having a bigger quarterback who can see over the line and a more athletic quarterback like Jaxson Dart and one who's got a stronger arm like Jaxson Dart, those are the kinds of things that get you in the end zone and have you kicking an extra point instead of a field goal. And it just wasn't good enough from Russell Wilson yesterday. And, it wasn't good enough from a lot of people. I don't want to just sit here and dump on Russ. You put Jaxson Dart in, and he's not going to fix all the problems. The offensive line's still going to be bad. The running game probably still will be somewhat non-existent. But the fact remains that Russell Wilson is a part of the problem. So, Giants fans, let me hear from you. Are you ready to hear from Jaxson, or are you ready to see Jaxson Dart? Do you think maybe Jameis would be a better bet? I mean, he's a bigger guy, can take hits, can see over the defense. Maybe he's worth a shot if you don't, because I totally understand the mindset of like, if the offensive line looks like this, you can't put Jaxson Dart back there. You're gonna ruin him. Like, he is the franchise. He is who all these decisions. It shouldn't even be about winning games right now. It should be, how do we best develop Jaxson Dart? And I think one of the unfortunate things is, like, I don't know that that's going to be Daboll's mindset this year. He has to keep his job. Like, if the Giants go 4-13 this year and their offense looks like this the entire season, he's gone. There's no way you can look like this the entire season and get brought back another year. So he's got to do what is in his best interest, and that's going to be winning games. And it's hard to imagine that Jaxson Dart doesn't give you a better chance at that than Russell Wilson does. Like, he was just bad yesterday. I don't know what else to tell you. I think he can thrive. He's not who he used to be, but he can be a passable, decent NFL quarterback with good protection. But with his 5'11" height, his lack of mobility, his, the fact that he couldn't keep his eyes off the blitz, wasn't keeping his eyes downfield, like, he's just at a point in his career where he can't handle being on a team like this. And, maybe you don't want to put Jaxson Dart behind there either, but maybe it's time to go to Jameis Winston. And then just kind of looking at the schedule, obviously Russ is going to start week 2. I'm team put in Jaxson Dart. I don't think I mentioned that yet. I want to see Jaxson Dart, but I don't want to see him against the Chiefs. Like, Sunday Night Football with Chris Jones coming at you against Pat Mahomes, that's not the time or the place to start Jaxson Dart. So to me, I'm looking week 4 against the Chargers. That's where I want to see him. It's at home. Chargers defense is solid, but it's not like they're a top 5 unit in the NFL. Their pass rush is okay, but it's not somebody like the Chiefs who's really going to wreck you. And then you get a second easier opponent in the Saints week 2 before kind of ramping things up with the Eagles and the Broncos. So to me, if I'm Daboll, that's my path forward with Jaxson Dart. Giants fans, let me hear from you. What week do you want to see Jaxson Dart, if at all, this year? I totally understand the mindset that you don't want to see him until at least Andrew Thomas is back, but maybe that's not even enough to fix this offensive line. Only time will tell, but I know Orlovsky and a lot of other people who know the quarterback position well are telling us this isn't just an offensive line problem. Russell Wilson was a part of the problem too. So don't forget, on your way out, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Lots more Giants content coming.